psychic medium Debbie Romero here. It is a privilege to have William in the house. Hey, William, welcome.
Hi, Debbie. By the
Hey.
way, your intro video is like next level. I don't know. It's gorgeous, beautiful, high, like the vibe is so good. So
Oh my God, I want to go dancing.
yeah, that was the one I was thinking of. I was like, all right, like psychics dancing. I like it.
Yeah. I don't mean to yell. You're like, oh my God, my poor ears. But I love the beauty of dance and the power of frequency and vibration and the colors. And I love your shirt, William, that you're just rocking right now. It's vibrant, it's full of life. It really does describe who you are. Well, I can feel how it describes you as an individual. But before I dive in psychically, you tell us who you are and how you want the world to know you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't like talking about myself like most introverted people, but my name is William FitzRoy. I am a psychic and a medium, and the owner and creative director of Art of the Seer Academy, which is a held space. It's a virtual space online. I started it in 2015, so it's been about 10 years now. And we hold space and create structure for people who are looking to develop their psychic abilities and their intuitive gifts in a number of different ways, and kind of however that means to each person individually.
Yeah, and it is very true. You say in numerous ways is because I find that we dive in as babies, like, wait a minute, let me feel into this. What does this feel like? Right?
Well,
Uh,
I think most people, and sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
no,
like
you're
most people,
not.
when you say they come in as, I mean that like you're speaking to the innocence. Like so many people that I work with are like, oh my God, I want to help people. And I'm like, that's awesome. But like, you need to heal yourself first.
Yes.
Yeah, like, yes, we will get there. Yes, you will get there. You will be of a beautiful help to lots of people, but only when you've spent time healing yourself first.
I think there's this thought that happens when one awakens that my friend laughs because she was like, I have a gift. And she's like, and I want to help people. And I'm like, girl, you ain't special, girl. Like bringing us our eagle head, bringing it back down. Calm down. Wait a minute. I
I
wanted to say,
know.
hold up. Wait a minute. Let's get some groove in it. But
I had a woman set up a meeting with me, and she brought her 16-year-old daughter, and like it was wonderful, and her daughter is very lovely. But in that meeting, she was like, my I brought my daughter because she's very gifted, she's very special, and I was like, I'm sure she is, and she looks lovely. It seems like she's a lovely young lady. And I was like, but like she needs to go get her heart broken a couple times
oh,
and then come take classes with like
yeah,
there's this thing about like wanting to learn these abilities in order to kind of like ascend or transcend from a certain level of human experience, which is like getting
right.
your heart broken, getting fired from a job, going through a bankruptcy, like the stuff that, we all go through in our life. And I think that stuff actually makes you a better psychic when you go through it. It doesn't get in the way of you being psychic.
Absolutely. And I don't mean to say not everyone is special. We're all special and unique. However, it sounds like from your bio that I read, you've been doing this since you were very young, age 8, I think it was what you wrote. And there's a development that definitely comes with life experiences. And then also trying to understand thyself and then the energies. And then from the energies, then you go into the spirit world and bam, we're all open.
Yeah, I like to say, how can you be found if you never get lost? Like part of the journey is getting lost in the sauce, and like you can't know who you are until you realize that you don't have any idea who you are, and it takes both of those things in order to make the whole.
I love your approach to letting others know, they to be a service is a beautiful gift. It's also a huge responsibility. And when you are taking the steps to be a service as a psychic medium, there's so much involved. And I was listening to you, and you were a teacher. You have an online school that you created. What was the inspiration behind your course? Like, what inspired you to create that?
I just love it.
Hmm.
I don't have any noble cause or like secret plan to like, I don't know, fix the world or I just love it. I love doing it. I love being around other people doing it. I love showing people that they can do it. I love being shown that new ways that I can do it by watching other people and being in fellowship with other psychics and other sensitives. So truly, like I hold that space every week for the members of the community and for people that are in a particular class with me. And I have a couple different courses I teach. I just do it because I love it. I have no other agenda than that.
No, that is the most rare, most potent form of being in your passion. You know, you felt I love what I do. Let me hold space for this. There's a gift in that. You know, you're honoring yourself and you're honoring the energies and you're willing to open the doors to one to say, William, help me understand this. And it sounds like you do it with respect as you turned away this young 16-year-old. And I think that takes power and strength to say, you know, I don't want your money. Let's manage this circumstances with care. And I could feel that when you were observing the situation. So I
Yeah.
think that's important in this work, that a reminder of how truly vulnerable we can be in an own awakening, or how I want to say unclear one's mind can be as we step into the journey, right?
Yeah. And, like one thing I tell, I get a lot of members who, again, like they want to help other people, which again is so like, that's why we all get into this. That's why I got into this back in the day. um, it took me a long time to realize that I couldn't help people until I really had worked on myself for a long time first. But I tell sometimes people take like a year-long course with me and they're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm gonna go give readings to people. I'm gonna charge $100 an hour.
Hey.
I'm gonna this is what I'm doing now. And I like,
Mm-hmm.
more power to you. But what people don't often think is like, okay, well, I'm gonna get real practical here. It's like,
Get
well,
it.
what's your minimum income per year, right? Is it like, okay, you need to make $80,000 a year to be comfortable in your life, right? Or whatever it
Right.
is. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, how many readings is that a week after
Right.
taxes?
Right.
Right? That's like, 15 readings a week after taxes. Does that sound fun to you? And most people, when I break it down like that, they're like, no, like I don't want to do 5 readings a day. And it's like, right. So like, this is where I'm just a huge proponent of incorporating this work into your life as part of a whole, not making it your whole. Um, some people can get away with that, and some people have found ways to make that, whatever they can do enough to support themselves. And I think that's great. What I found very early on for myself is that I like nice things and I like having, there's a certain lifestyle that I like to have. As you can see, I live
Yeah.
right downtown in Chicago. I like to go to the
Okay.
opera and the symphony, and like I'm a very cultural guy. And so, very early on, I was like, oh, I'm not going to give up my corporate career. I'm going to find a way to have both and to have them work in lockstep with each other. But I didn't want to make my psychic work with people dependent on my rent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like, because then I think it becomes something else. I think,
Pressure. Pressure. There's a pressure, and you know that we've all gone through those stages. I've gone through those stages. And so when you speak of healing, you know, we do the work and then things in life happens and then you have to do the work again. And so it takes great courage to take a step back and reevaluate one's energies and self so it's not polluted within the channel as you're communicating for the others. You've got to have that clear thinking mindset. And it's a dance, definitely is a dance. As you spoke about nice things and luxury and you know making this a business, everyone is privileged differently. Everyone has source of means differently, and some may not, and some may rely on this. And so you are going to see in the work that we do many, many, I wouldn't just say outlets and how one shows up, but I've been that person 5 readings a day. If you do a fair, if you do a dam, Let me tell you, your physical being will take a toll energetically. The magnesium gets taken, the blood flow changes, and I don't think people talk about this very often when
Yeah.
you're in a meditative state for so long. Your physical being is slowing down, the heart rests, and so there are changes in the physical well-being that one goes through when
Yep.
we're truly in the power. Hmm.
Yep. And it's hard to sustain that for a long time, sequentially over time. And the last thing I'd say about that, and I love your observations, it's so accurate, is that everybody has to find their own answer. And so you
Yeah,
can't look to someone else's experience or someone else's situation and try to mimic that or have that for yourself. You have to find the way that it works uniquely for you. And then
I
that
agree.
brings us right back to what I said about, being psychic to me really is about finding your own unique voice as an artist and doing it the way that it is meaningful to you, not necessarily the way you see it being meaningful to and from others.
Right. Every that and that is why it's truly a sacred journey for one, right? It is.
Mhm.
No one wakes up with the thoughts that you have. They're your thoughts. How you move through the waves and the frequencies are truly your own. So
Mhm.
we can sit and we can give you perspectives, but until your brain clicks with the idea, oh, this is how it makes sense for me, that is where the power begins. When you truly understand the dance of the energies and what they're saying to you as an individual, right? Um, there's so much because spirit is very intelligent. And I say intelligent because I get little messages here and there, little golden nuggets on how what to ask you, William. My
Sure.
guest. Let's ask, right? So, first question that I was influenced by was, how did you see energy, or how do you interpret energy for you?
So when I was younger, I just had a knowing. And I think of psychic abilities kind of in three different levels. There's sensing, seeing, and knowing. And those three stratifications of information really inform kind of where you're working as a psychic. And we all have access to all three. When I was much younger, it was a sensing. So my mom tells this funny story about, I think I was like 5 or 6 or 7, somewhere around there at the grocery store. And we were waiting in line for the checkout. And I was like standing behind my mom, I think, and she had the cart, and I was sort of behind her. And I turned around, and there was a guy standing behind us, a man, an adult man. And I tugged on his jacket, and he looked down at me, and I said, "Why are you so sad?" And of course, my mom, being a good mom, immediately, spun around and was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And when we got to the car, I got a good talking to, like, we don't say that to people. We don't, like, that's not appropriate to say to somebody. And of course, the little 7-year-old me, I was like, "What do you mean that's not appropriate? He's sad." And I was asking why, like, I was just responding to what's real here. But I think a lot of us learn that those feelings we pick up from the world around us, that it's somehow wrong or inappropriate or just like not something that we're supposed to be conscious to or aware of, or at least put words to. And so a lot of my healing journey was kind of unraveling the learned behavior of not paying attention to that anymore because I
Mhm.
was told it was wrong and bad,
Yeah,
not the way people interact. So carrying that through, I think that's like part of the work is unraveling those learned behaviors for yourself so that the way that you're sensitive to the world, the way you've always been sensitive to the world, you have permission to be that again in a way that feels very natural.
I agree. That gave me the feeling that I got today, listening to you say that. It's so true. The boundaries and the respect of one's energies filled is important. And we do take these leaps into the energies, and I say leaps because do we even pay attention to the energies around us? And you at age 5, 6 were already aware of what was around you. You were already acknowledging the sensing and just knowing this man was sad. And
Yep.
so oftentimes we're reaching for spirit and we're not realizing that spirit is here. The energies are here. So if we're looking at our surroundings, like our land, the food, the markets, the water, the ocean, the fires or the volcanoes, and like all of that is energy and it's saying something. But do we pause to say, what is the earth or what is the planet saying to us, right? What are the people saying to us? And this really shifts the energies from reaching up to spirit and being grounded enough to say, I'm feeling this here, what's happening here.
Yep.
So I love that. And so you see the intelligence of how spirit already aligned your interview because they were acknowledging you as you experience that at 6. So it's a reminder that you've always been this way. It's just when the key, I wanted to say, here's the key to unlock the door to my house. So
Yeah.
right,
And unique to each of us. So the way
yes,
that I'm psychic and the way that I'm sensitive to stuff is through my own lived experience and my own body and my own life, the environment I've, matriculated in. So and that's unique to each person. So that's where I think being psychic is about developing your unique voice, not doing it the way someone else does it or the way someone tells you to do it.
right.
I can be very controversial with that. Like,
No,
there's a lot of people out there, I think, that believe like your first chakra is always supposed to be red. That's the color of the first chakra. I don't
no,
actually believe that to be true or see that to be true when I read people.
I
It's
agree.
what color does your first chakra want naturally vibrate at and want to be? Like, rather than all trying to be the same, I think
Right.
it's about not about homogeny, and it's about like what's special and unique about you, and then how do you bring that forward?
Right. So when you say that, I'm like, ooh, mine is pink.
Right. It is actually.
I
Well
know that's,
done.
I
Hot
was like,
pink, by the way, not just
yeah.
pink, hot pink.
Oh, let me tell you about the hot pink. I was almost going to buy these stilettos, high shoes that were hot pink. And I was like, yes, Diva, let's get those. And my husband gives me that look and grounds me. No,
No.
no. I'm like, yes. So I have to go by myself and get them. So I'm not regulated back and
Yes.
grounded back. But yes, hot pink is a beautiful color. It's my mother's favorite color. So I was like, oh, I love that. Okay, let's go back here. So I wanted to touch on the art. How did you embody the energies to create art? Like, what is your art? What do you do for art? Your creative flow? Because I got the sense that you were making things and creating things. So tell me, William, or Bill, or William. I didn't even think. Oh, William. We'll say William.
William, thank
Tell
you.
us.
Yes,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, I like my art these days is the art of the Seer Academy, and that's really my primary creative expression in the world. I've gone through different phases and periods of my time. I was as as a young man, I was very into performing arts and theater. So I did train as an actor and then as a director for theater. I participated in a lot of choirs. I used to sing a lot when I was a kid. I don't do a lot of that anymore. Mostly just I don't have time. I'm an adult person with two very needy cats and a full-time job, and I run a psychic academy. So like, I don't know, I don't have a lot of time to do a lot of co-curriculars. But like what I feel like I bring uniquely to psychic ability training is this parallel that I have experienced going to art academy style schools. So when I was growing up, I went to a high school that had like a very intense performing arts program at the high school. So, it was almost a professional level experience being in that high school program. And then I went to my undergraduate university experience was in sort of a conservatory environment. The uniqueness of those conservatory trainings was all about giving the artist a container and a structure that is like a musculature that then you can sort of work as a channel and work in the more, you can sort of balance the structure with the free floatiness, right? So when you see, I'm going to use an example, when you see an actor in a performance, and I don't mean, when I say actor, I don't mean celebrity, different different thing. Like I'm not talking about the
Mhm.
Kardashians. I'm talking about like actors who are really into the craft of acting, right?
I love that.
Like a Philip Seymour Hoffman or a Christian Bale or like, anybody that you would call sort of an actual artist in that way. Not that the Kardashians aren't talented in other ways and they bring something unique to the world that I validate. Um,
Right.
but when I'm talking about actors, I'm talking about like actors into the craft of acting. When
Uh-huh.
you see them either on stage or in a movie and it looks so effortless, right? It looks like they're just like channeling a character through them and like maybe their physicality changes, their voice changes, their whole thing changes. That is a mediumship experience. I don't know.
Right.
People don't think about
Absolutely.
that, but it really is. And they're able to do that because there's a very clear structure holding the space around them, the crew, the other actors, the director,
Right.
the sort of people creating that space so they can sort of lose themselves in the role and channel that other energy
Absolutely.
through them. It's a
Hmm.
mediumship experience is what it is. That takes a great amount of self-determination and inner structure to be able to lose yourself in a role like that and channel another energy and then come back to yourself. And if you look culturally, we have a lot of examples of actors who've struggled with that, even sort of losing themselves in a role and then not being able to find themselves or get themselves back. So
Hmm.
I use that as one example, but you could also apply this to visual arts like painting, like you see a
Hmm.
Jackson Pollock painting, which is like, notably chaos, right? It looks like
Hmm.
chaos, but actually what's underneath that chaos is a lot of structure and form and choices and decisions as an artist that actually look like he's just, people look at that painting like that and are like, well, I could do that. And it's like, no,
Mm.
actually you couldn't.
Right.
Because what it took for him to get to that was a lot of structure and trial and error and form
Mm.
to contain the creativity in a vessel or in a channel, right?
Right.
Anyway, I'm being long-winded because I'm very passionate about this, but like,
No, I love that you're touching on this, William. This is truly an area that I adore, and so and I will give my feedback of my experience on what you're saying. So I think this is important, what you're saying here, and what you're taking me to a journey of when it talks about the painting. It's truly the emotion. It's a reminder. It's truly one of a kind. When one experiences life, and as you told a 16-year-old girl, go have your heart broken, come back and we'll talk again. The man's painting you're speaking of is giving you a journey into their heartache, a journey into the emotion, and a journey into the feelings of what they witnessed or saw. So you're actually reading the layers of what their life embodies. And so as you're reading the layers of that, as I got chills, it's a reminder truly each individual person is truly unique. And I now want to use the word special. But let's go back
yeah,
to the art of you being a medium and an actor and this is really big for me because I'm a trance medium. And so when we are doing trance work and we're allowing spirit to speak through us or we're allowing spirit to blend so closely with us beyond, we'll say, mental mediumship. There is a blend where oftentimes it can look as, oh my God, they're possessed. Oh my God, they're in this like dun 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 energies, right? That's my theatrical
I love it.
cue. Okay, so but I work with some amazing young men and young souls and watched them in their passion as they filmed and they do film festivals, right? So this is babies take who are in the industry who create. I call them babies because I'll grow a little seasoned here. And so, so as I say that, they're babies and they go and you got the makeup artist being the actor and you got the film coming in and they're in that flow. And when you're running the energies of creation, there is that opportunity to lose oneself because you're truly everyone has a role and everyone's bringing their part to the table, whether it's taking a picture, creating the fog, the effect, changing the lighting, coming in to move the lighting. There's energy moving and shifting, and depending on the property, the land that you're on or where you're at, all of that's playing a factor that's created that opportunity. So there's this huge wave of high, and then there's the drop. And when the project ends, there's a drop. And just like a painting or a book or a creation, there's a drop. And
Yep.
so when that means is you're riding the wave and you're in the energies of the flow, this is the beauty of experiences that you're riding. But how do you manage the drop? What do you do to reground your energies when you recognize there's a shift after the project's done? What can you give advice as you've been doing this for years so that you don't hit that depression, you don't hit that, you step into that mental health and feel, I wanted to say sometimes we feel like we fail, but we succeeded, but it's like, what's the next project? How do you stay humble and grateful with that energy, you know?
I know that's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you speak about that, I think of an author that has been a great influence on my life, and that's Parker Palmer.
Okay.
He's a wonderful author. He speaks a lot about mental health and psychology. And in particular, he has a couple books on his own struggle with depression. And one of the things that he talks about in those books is you can't have the high without the low. And so the advice I give in that circumstance is like actually not to resist the drop or the low. You have to embrace it just as you embrace the high. It's a whole other part of you that wants to express. And
Mhm.
by not resisting it and instead embracing it, what you're doing is building your capacity both on this end and on this end. They are equidistant and equilibrium, right? So the more you can have down here, the more you can have up here.
Mhm.
That's the musculature of it. So when a project ends or a reading ends or a really great channeling session ends and everybody's been kind of feeling the high vibes and all that kind of stuff, or riding the high of creativity or feeling great fellowship with your colleagues in those spaces, like all these are like things that are like a high to us, right? Then
Mhm.
you go home and you're alone with your cats
There
or
you
your
go.
dogs or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's easy to start to feel that isolation or that loneliness, or even if you've been connecting to spirit as a channel and now you're not, and it's just you and the quiet that that brings as a medium, instead embracing it and recognizing that the more you can embrace that and embody that too, the more you can have on the other end.
Right. I think it's also a reminder too. Energy never dies. And as the project ends, the energy, the residuals are still there. So allowing the energies to move through you. Don't become the emotion, the energies, it's just as a read. We're holding space for the read and we're acknowledging it as it's moving. We're channeling and we're moving it. Um, Grounding for me is really important. I do cold plunges. Bring my energies back and then recreate.
Yeah.
So then you recreate and change the form. So, um,
Parker Palmer talks about the interplay between ecstasy and depression
yeah.
as an oscillating wave, like a radio
Mm-hmm.
wave,
Mm-hmm.
and how like you can't have the high without the low. And so
I agree.
it's really a musculature of embracing both and having both. And that's what I'm hearing sort of you validate is like you embrace those moments of isolation or loneliness or sort of feeling down, so that then when the wave comes like a surfer, you can catch the next wave going up and you don't get stuck in the downness of it.
Absolutely. And I think this is honoring the energies. And this is truly no such thing as high vibes because there is a high vibe, but there's also other frequencies that come with it. And so honor all frequencies and stay in the middle. Let's go. Let's stay in the middle. I'll meet you
Well,
in the middle.
I do think like surfing is a great analogy for that, right? Like
Yeah,
in order
right.
to be a good surfer, you're in a state of readiness,
Yes.
active readiness, and it's like waiting for the wave to come and then you catch it. Like you can't predict it or anticipate it. You just have to be ready for it when it
I
comes.
agree. I'm very creative when it comes to the energies in that way. So when the wave comes and there's a huge hit, oh my gosh, look out. I'm like, okay, we're doing this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. And then all of a sudden I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm done. But that also goes back to you do 5 readings in one day. It's the same analogy of like you were in it, girl. You were in it. You're creating, and now that happens to so many people. Whether it's you're at your 9 to 5 job and you're in it, you're focused. You're depending on what sparks passion. You're really invested in the time of how you help others, whether you're a doctor or you're a nurse or you're a lawyer, or you're doing the plumbing or you're fixing a car. All of that is part of your essence and being that energy exchange. You're touching people's energy field. You're touching their
Mhm.
belongings. So there's a constant ebb and flow. So not only as channelers, as trance mediums or healers or intuitives or I would say artists, but people who have everyday lives who say, I'm not a medium, I'm not a psychic. ¿Qué pasó? This energy, what is you talking about over there? But there's always that one rare moment where they're like, oh my God, I was feeling this and I don't know what it was. So great job, William, and bringing the knowledge and different perspectives here today. If we were to leave a thought to someone who maybe would say, what if I'm a medium? What if I'm a psychic? What piece of thought would you like to leave them with?
The way I've been talking about this lately is that the new age happened, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago or 30 years ago, if you told somebody you were like taking a class on spirit guides, they would have like thought it's like, I can't tell anybody, they're going to think I'm crazy, like, um, but like the new age kind of happened. Like it's integrated into everything. You can buy aromatherapy at Target. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's like there was a time when like homeopathy and aromatherapy and all that, like people were like, what? I don't know, that's weird. And now it's like at Target. So it happened. We're in a new age. And I think what defines the new age is that in order to embrace spirit, embrace your own spirit first and foremost, not just others, but like embrace spirit, embrace energy, embrace sensitivity, embrace your abilities and your gifts. It doesn't mean you have to leave your life behind or abdicate having a normal life, normal, quote unquote, in order to be ascended or transcended or like this light being, right? I think actually the new age is learning this stuff and then integrating it into the things that you already are passionate about and already do.
I agree.
Um, so, like, what the world doesn't need is more professional clairvoyance out there
Mm,
giving readings. I mean, if people are interested in that or want to do that, I'm more power to you, and I love it. But what I'm more interested in is people who want to learn clairvoyance and then go back to their corporate job
mhm.
and bring that sense of self and that self trust and self validation that you get by learning how to do this for others, bring that into everyday meetings at work
Right.
and be that person in those environments.
I agree. I was about 20 years old, 21 years old, and a lady pops in. I was at the cable company, and this lady comes in and she comes and my first meditation in person. And she took us through a journey, and my tears just cried. My tears just came out, and I will never forget the beauty that one brings to work, and I see the children meditating at school, and the new energies that are being brought forward to the children. It really does start at age 5, 6, like it does for you and for many.
Yep.
And if we can embrace that shift, the world will change quicker, and the world will be, I wanted to quote Michael Jackson, a better place. So,
I love it. I love
yes.
it.
So, what are you currently offering at this time, William?
Yeah, we've got there's like two really great things that I'd like to just mention. I'm bad at
Please.
I don't want to be salesy and I'm bad at
Let's do
selling stuff,
it.
but
Let's do
I will call people's attention if you're interested in learning more about this. We offer every week we have a couple practicums, we call them. They are completely free for everybody, and what they are held containers by our faculty where people who are in our classes and members of our community give readings and healings as a practice. And then there's like faculty there to coach and to help guide. It's a learning experience. I think of it like a teaching hospital, right? It's
it.
like we have all these people doing stuff, and then there's like more senior level people who've been doing this for longer who are there to sort of
Right.
coach and help. And that's a wonderful experience for the members because they get to come in, no responsibility, and just practice every week. It's like going to practice your violin. You just show up, you hit a couple sharp notes, it's fine. But then also people can sign up to receive. healings and readings and stuff completely for free. So it's free for everybody. It's just a great practice space. It's a wonderful way to see the community, see the vibe of the folks in the community, kind of see what we offer. Encourage people to sign up for that. And then we have a 10-week class that starts in January for beginners, and we have a 5-month training in clairvoyance that starts in January as well. I do offer some advanced trainings that start in January for people who have been through other training programs and stuff. So we have a great variety of stuff. Most of us are just psychic geeks, and we just like all get together and be psychic geeks together a couple times a week and have a lot of laughs while we do it, is kind of the vibe we're in.
The Geek Squad, y'all. The Geek Squad.
Psychic Geek
Watch it.
Squad.
I love it. I love it. It sounds so cool. I think who doesn't want healing, right? We all need a little healing and little energies. And it sounds like you have a beautiful school. Congratulations on
Thank
your
you.
journey and your, I wanted to say, blessings that you provide to the community. And thank you for being a guest today, William. And throw your website out there. What's the website,
Yeah,
William?
art of the seer academy.
Perfect. Thank you, y'all. If this podcast found you, don't forget to follow William. He's an amazing soul doing some colorful things for the spirit world. Much love,
Debbie, you
everybody.
are a lovely and wonderful host. Thanks for making me so comfortable and for having me on to chat with you today.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. You guys have a good one. Much love. Bye.